In the spirit of modern fairy tales, I'll be playing Angel of Music by Andrew Lloyd Webber.
Thank you, Barbara. What a wonderful way to start the morning. Is this on? There it is. Welcome. I would like to remind you to please silence your cell phones. I know often we think we have, but we usually haven't. So I often have to check mine. So if you could silence your cell phones, this is your chance to unplug, relax, and enjoy some fellowship. The centering thought is by Mary Oliver. Instructions for a living life. Pay attention, be astonished, tell about it. I'd like to welcome you to Summit. My name is Stacy Sasaki. I'm privileged to be your service associate today. I have, for those of you who can't see very well, I'm wearing a blue dress and I have red hair and I'm 60-something.
She looks gorgeous.
Okay. And in the words of Tom Brower, who kindly let us have this to read, Summit is a liberal religious community. We're bound together not by all of us believing the same things, but by love and a shared commitment to a compassionate, just, and sustainable world. We draw our inspiration from all the world's religions, as well as humanist teachings, nature, science, philosophy, and personal practices. In other words, we're spiritual adventurers, and the world is our library, not just one sacred text to the exclusion of all else. Many rivers flow into the ocean of truth, and we enjoy drinking from all of them. If you're new and would like to know more, we invite you to go to our website, summituuf.org, and click on the Visitors button. Again, that's summituuf.org, and if you're here in person, we invite you to stick around after service and talk to a member or two. And hello to Zoom. We're happy to have you with us too. We stand upon land that carries the footsteps of many generations of Kumeyaay people, which stretches from the shores of the Pacific Ocean south to Ensenada, east to the sand dunes of the Colorado River in Imperial Valley, and north to Warner Spring Valley. We acknowledge that this fellowship resides on unceded Kumeyaay land and honor the spirit and continuing presence of the Kumeyaay Nation. I was so pleased at yesterday's protest to hear them repeat something similar to this. We have quite a few announcements today, and we'd like to start with Jim.
Good morning. Excuse me. Good morning. I'm Jim Weed, chairperson of the Welcoming and Membership Committee here at Summit. Just another reminder that next Sunday, not next Sunday, Sunday, April 26th at 11:30 a.m., we will be gathering in our library to have our next Get to Know Us event. And this will be an opportunity for you to learn more about Unitarian Universalism and Summit UU Fellowship. It'll be a chance to meet people, leaders here at Summit, and so on. So we'll be serving a light lunch during this event. Food bribery is great. So contact me either here at Summit or email me. My email will be found either in the Scene or the weekly e-news. And I'm also excited to just share my enjoyment of the response from the fellowship about the permanent name tags that we've been made available and are being sold now. Just a reminder, these are for Summit members because we use the Summit logo on it. If you look at some of the paper name tags around, some have the Summit logo, some don't. That's our secret code to let you know who's a member and who's not. The permanent name tags also use the logo. So if you would like a permanent name tag but not a member yet, maybe now's a good time to join so you can actually purchase one. Anyway, after the service, Stacy will be set up in the salon with an order form for the name tags. The cost is $11. And I also have the first batch of name tags that were ordered, I believe, 2 weeks ago with me. So we'll be starting to distribute them as well. Thank you.
And now Mary.
Good morning. My name is Mary. I'm your Director of Religious Exploration, and I've come to talk to you about next Sunday being Easter. And what's more fun for Easter than an Easter hat? This is made entirely from leftovers from our auction. And I've got a lot of stuff set up in the salon. You can take some paper and make a basic hat and then just cover it with stuff like I did. So you can do that after the service if you'd like. If you don't feel super creative or want to try to experiment with making a hat, Stacy said she might bring some hats to share next week. So we had requests for hats on Easter Sunday. So if you feel so inclined, hat. If not, no worries. So we will have, it's going to be all ages in the service next Sunday, and we will have a creative space for embodied worship, making flower crowns and butterflies, and decorating eggs, followed by a spring egg hunt after the service. So come play with us.
Oh,
I lost a flower.
yeah. Ted. Here he comes.
Greetings, all. I'm Ted Duvall, if you don't know me. My wife is Sarah. I just flew in from Santee, and boy, that's right, Bar, my arm's tired. I'm in Social Justice in Action and also Old Farts with Hearts. And thanks to your donations to Social Justice in Action and some other donations privately, I've made a second purchase of underwear for distribution down at 17th and K. And this is by far the most efficient way to help distribute underwear, which is really a rare find in donations to the homeless down there. We get all different sizes, a big box of underwear from small to extra large, etc. This is the ladies' briefs. We get a pack of 100, and then also 144 pairs of men's boxer briefs. And the cost that way, when you buy in bulk, is $1 for ladies, and it's $2.10 for the men's boxer briefs. So all of your donations to the bucket, if you have bought new ones, is fantastic. It's most appreciated. But if you really want to go far, do it this way. Give to the SJIA fund. Thank you very much.
I wanted to let you know that there's going to be, we want you to save the date for this very special talk that's happening Saturday, April 25th. And it's Peter Boland who is coming to give a talk called Liberalism and Faith, Rekindling the Flame of Religious Freedom. So suggested donation is $20. I know you all love to hear him, and we'd love to see you there. Now, yeah.
Somebody missing a phone? This is Breezeway.
Phone found its home. All right. Now we'd like Jessica to come up. She has something special to share with us.
I brought props, you guys. I have my own hat. So my name is Jessica Bennett. I am 5'2", maybe 5'4", with my heels, wearing a blue dress, straight brown hair, and wearing a red hat. So last year I gave a testimony, and I kind of told you all my Summit origin story, so I won't do that again. I'll just give you a really quick summary. Growing up, I was unchurched, living in the Bible Belt. So when I was a preteen, I decided I didn't believe in God, and spent my teenage years and early 20s as like the most cliched, angry, smug atheist that you could imagine. I was real fun to be around. Later in my 20s, I discovered humanism, and that felt like a really good fit for my worldview and values. So I just kind of said, I guess I'm a humanist, and kind of that was that. I just carried the label and didn't do much more with that. Then came the 2016 election and the 2024 election, and I was very devastated, angry, just felt really alone. So in my desperation to kind of find my own people, I just Googled Humanist Church, and that is what led me to Summit. I came to Summit looking for a community, and it's been over a year and a half now, and I've found so much more. So I joined the book club, and I was able to read books that I never otherwise would have, and I will rejoin, I promise. I'll get back to it. I participated in a covenant group, and I learned that spirituality is just, it can look so much more than just prayer. It can be a walk through the woods. It can be playing piano and making music. I became a proud member of WOW, that's our women's group, and I found laughter, love, and camaraderie with so many other kindred spirits. In the time that I've been a member of Summit, you guys threw me a baby shower, so if we can put those pictures up. Oh, they're already up. That's great. That's kind of amazing, right? So I received not one, but several birthday cards in the mail from members of Summit. You guys know who you are, and you are amazing. And something that is extra special is that Kathy Young actually made quilts for my children, and they're going to be a part of their lives. And this was just a couple weeks before her stroke, so these are just going to be part of our family forever. So these are just a couple of the things that Summit members have done for me and my family. So I came to Summit looking for a community, but what I really found was a spiritual family. So that's why I'm a member. That's why I give what I can, and I volunteer my very limited time, but it's worth it. And Summit, we can't operate on good vibes alone, so we all have to chip in whatever way and fashion we can. Oh, I forgot, Shannon made me this hat. That was another thing. Shannon knitted me this hat, which I proudly wore yesterday in Rancho Bernardo. So anyway, we all have to chip in whatever fashion we can so that Summit can thrive. And also, guys, really, I need the daycare. I really, really need the daycare, so we have to keep going. All right, that's it. Thank you so much.
The props were great. Tom.
Wow, I don't think I can add a whole lot to that. Wow. It's coming. Her living explanation of Summit Love, wow, that's beautiful. Thanks, Jessica. But this is also Summit Love, what we're calling our Pledge Generosity campaign. And you might recall from last week, we were just a scooch under 50% of our practical goal. So it's time for a little weekly update. Am I going the right direction? Huh. Well, he'll forward it for me. Perfect. So we are now just a scooch under 62%. So I'd call that, yay! Thank you so much to everyone who's gotten their pledge in. We definitely are keeping the momentum going, and I feel like that if I kind of look real hard and I squint a little, I can actually see our finish line out there. But we can get there. And we're giving ourselves all of April to get there, but please don't wait. There's no reason to wait. It really only takes a few minutes. And you can have your pledge in, and we can get about the business of keeping Summit Love visible and alive, and those practical matters of setting a reasonable budget to guide our upcoming year. So, thank you again for those of you who've already pledged. And for those of you who haven't, this is just your little friendly weekly nudge to get it done. And you can do it today. We're going to have a table set up out in the greeting room and in the salon. It only takes a minute, I promise. And you'll be doing your part to keep Summit Love. Let me see, I want to get back to that. I like to finish on that slide. There it is. You'll be keeping Summit Love alive and vibrant. Thank you.
we will have, I didn't ask you, but would you like to light the chalice? Yeah, I'm going to say the words for you. If I can find them, because they were in a different. At first, people refuse to believe that a strange new thing can be done. Then they begin to hope it can be done. Then they see it can be done. Then it is done. And all the world wonders why it was not done centuries ago. One spark is enough to set the whole forest on fire. And that was from The Secret Garden by Frances Hodgson Burnett. Thank you. Now, if you can rise, and we will have the congregational hymn and aspiration. Now, please stay standing, if you want to, for hymn 188, Come, Come, Whoever You Are. A lot of us know this song. Now we are going to have a reading from I'm going to just introduce her right now because she's going to be speaking. So I'm going to do a little introduction. This lady is known professionally and affectionately as Aunt Leanne. She believes every human being is a storyteller, and stories are the heart of how we grow spiritually and build the communities we call home. Aunt Leanne is a professional storyteller, actor, and teaching artist whose voice resonates across the region and beyond. She is a practicing clinical herbalist and certified expressive arts teacher, an active member of the Palomar UU Fellowship since 2006, and instructor, performer, and board member for Storytellers of San Diego. Wow. After 14 years with the Unrecorded Divas, she is joining the musical protest group Raise Your Voice. She has spent over 2 decades filling needs wherever she finds them while maintaining a wonderfully rich life of service and art. And now she is going to read.
Do the reading?
Yeah. I'm gonna do that.
So as a storyteller, I'm doing the reading without the reading. This story is the 3 siblings and a lost camel. There were 3 brilliant siblings, princes and princesses, who had been sent far abroad to continue their education because they just had outgrown the schools that were close to home. And they were very, very bright. And they were also a little mischievous. And one day, they were walking down the road and they met Max, who was who had lost his camel. He said, "Oh, to the three siblings, have you seen my camel? Have you seen my camel? I can't find it anywhere. I need it to go every day to the market and back, and I've lost my camel. I've gathered all the people that I can. We're all looking for my camel. Have you seen it? And Cheryl, the oldest sibling, said, was your camel blind in the left eye? And Max said, yes, have you seen my camel? And the second sibling, Drew, said, was your camel lame in the back hoof? Yes, you have seen my camel. Where is my camel? And the third sibling said, and missing a right tooth near the back. Where is my camel? What have you done to my camel? And the siblings said, we haven't seen it. And they laughed and they started on their way. And Max got very angry, and so did the people that he had gathered around him. And he said, well, if you don't give me back my camel right now, I'm going to take you to the magistrate. And the siblings said, we don't have your camel. We haven't seen your camel. And so they were taken before the magistrate. And the magistrate heard Max's story and said, if you don't give this man back his camel, I'm going to lock you up. And you know what? Around here, plug your ears. Around here, we cut off people's hands if they're thieves. Could be. It's a mysterious land. But that kind of put the kibosh on the mischievousness of the siblings. And Cheryl said, no, we definitely have not seen your camel. But if all you want is your camel back, we can help you find it. Let's go back. So they went back to where they had met Max on the road. And the magistrate said, how could you have described his camel so well if you're not hiding it? And Cheryl said, well, look, the grass on this side of the road is all eaten down to the ground. But on this side of the path, it's lush. Obviously, the camel was blind in one eye. All right, but how did you know the camel had a lame back hoof? If you look at the tracks here in this muddy place on the road, you can see that there are 3 perfect hoof prints and 1 that's been dragged along. And the magistrate said, all right, I can see that. But how did you know it was missing a tooth? And the third sibling said, well, come back to where the grass has been chewed. You can see that every so often there's a little piece of cud that's fallen out, just the size of where if they had been missing a tooth, it would have landed. And the magistrate said, fine, I agree. You could have known all of these things without seeing the camel, but how will you help us find it? The siblings said, well, we were coming down the road from the east, so obviously the camel is gone to the west. The magistrate said, well, that's a big city down there to the west. How will we find where the camel has wandered? And the other siblings laughed, and they said, look, if you follow this line of ants, Max, your camel was carrying 1 container of honey and 1 of corn. And Max just fainted dead away. But to the magistrate, the siblings said, if we follow the line of ants, we know that's where the honey was dripping off the container. And on the other side is a trail of corn. And by the time they got to the end of the trail, there was the camel who, with its blind eye, had come up a blind alley and wasn't able to turn around. And that's our reading for today.
Okay, this is the joys and concerns portion of our day. Joys and concerns can be emailed or texted to Reverend Casey or me, Stacy Sasaki, throughout the week, or they can be handwritten on Sunday morning on cards just over here, available near the chancel. I hope that you were all able to light a candle if you needed to. You're all welcome to come up and light a candle whenever, so that you can have your joy or concern quietly in a candle. I have a joy. Yesterday was my joy. Just I just want to know, can I see a show of hands of everybody that participated in the walk yesterday? Look at this. So you all know what I'm talking about. I'm still buzzing from it. I'm sure you are too. It was a great day. It was a great day. Laura Hershey has a sorrow. Robin Beers has passed away peacefully. So, Laura, we hold you and Robin's family in our hearts, and we hope that they get the comfort that they need for this passing. Jerica Stone, who wasn't able to be here today, says that she has a friend who's been in the UAE, the United Arab Emirate, with her husband and kids celebrating Ramadan with his family. But they've been unable to return home, and even after Ramadan ended, due to the war and lack of flights. So please lift them up in your hearts and think of them, and we hope that they come home safely to us soon. Let's just have a moment to think about all those. And maybe there's a lot of you out here that have things in your hearts and minds and worries and concerns. So let's just think about those and lift each other up. And we thank you for your participation in that. And now it's invitation for all ages.
Thanks, Mary. I always appreciate that. Yay. Oh, yay. Hi. I don't think I got to say hi to you before the service started. You probably, is that a snail? Oh, that's so cool. I love that. That's beautiful.
Always bring fidgets.
Oh, I love that. Oh, this story may or may not contain fidgets. We'll have to pay attention. You may have heard I'm Aunt Leanne, and I'm so happy to be able to come and tell this story for everyone. Stories are for all ages. Y'all know that, right? But the special people sit up front. That's the truth. So this is the story of the stonecutter's daughter. The stonecutter's daughter was really good friends with the daughter of the king. The king was not a nice king. He was a horrible, terrible, awful king. But he was getting near the end of his reign, and it was time for his daughter to take over. So he decided that what he was going to do was make sure she was married before he died, so that she would have someone who would rule with her. And she didn't really want that, but she said, well, if there's somebody that I find that I think would be a good ruler along with me, then I would marry them. And so she and her good friend, the stonecutter's daughter, they started to talk about how they would find someone to do that. But in the meantime, her father said, I have all of these suitors lined up for you from all over. Just choose one of them. And she said, well, how will I know if they're fit to be a ruler? And her father said, let's see who can do these impossible things. If you can find someone who can do these things, then you can choose them to marry, and otherwise, I get to pick. And she said, well, I don't think that's entirely fair. Let me hear what that is. And he said, I am announcing to all the kingdom that anyone who can carry the wind in paper and who can wrap fire in paper will be able to rule with my daughter. And so all the suitors jumped up and they took pieces of paper and they tried, some of them made boxes and tried to capture the wind inside the box, but when they would open it up, it was just air. And they tried all kinds of different things. How were they going to harness the wind, to rule the wind with just paper? And there was the stonecutter's daughter, and she was worried about her good friends being able to choose who would rule with her, right? And so she started to fidget. See, I told you there might or might not be a fidget in this particular story, and she was fidgeting with her piece of paper. And as she was fidgeting with it, she watched all of the different trials, all the people who were trying different things to capture the wind. There was one person who had a kite, and although it was moved by the wind, it didn't do anything to the wind, so they were disqualified. But while she was watching, the wind died, and no one could think of something that could capture the wind now. And as she was watching all of the people in the court, she noticed that some of them were cooling themselves. And she looked down at what she'd been fidgeting with, and she ran up to the king and his daughter, and she said, "I have harnessed the wind." And the king spluttered and said, "Well, that may be fine, but how, my dear, are you going to wrap fire in paper?" And the suitors, once again, had been taking their paper and trying, and whoosh, over and over again, there were fires all over the court. And the stonecutter's daughter, she couldn't think of what to do either, even though she was watching the flames going up with all of the different suitors from all over, all the different lands, and she was getting so upset thinking that her good friend wouldn't have anyone by her side except someone of her father's choosing. And so she left the court and she went out into the woods. And the more that she thought about what was going to happen to her friend, the sadder she got. And she started to cry. And her tears fell on the moss in the forest. And all of a sudden she heard a voice. "Hey, no salt water on my moss." And she looked around, she couldn't see anybody. "Who's talking to me?" "Look down here." And there, just knee-high, was a little old woman with green skin and brown hair and a gnarly look to her skin. It was like she was part plant and part person. And the stonecutter's daughter said, "Oh, excuse me, is this your moss?" And the little imp, because that's what she was a forest imp, said, "Yes, this is my moss, and no salt water. It kills the moss off. What's wrong?" And so the stonecutter's daughter told the imp all about how she had passed the first test, but she had no idea how to wrap fire in paper. And the imp whispered to her and told her how to do it. And so she rushed back to her friend, the king's daughter, and she took her paper and she tried to remember. All right. Well, first of all, some of the paper has to be paper tape. Look at that. I have tape made out of paper. I was so excited when I found it for this story, because otherwise, I don't really think it's paper. But anyway, paper tape that she took, and she took her paper and she sealed it up with the tape. Let's see. Here we go. She put the tape all along like that. And then she took the other side and she sealed it up like that, just as the imp had told her to do, and then she squished it flat. Now, how was she going to wrap the paper in there, do you think? Well, she got some scissors and she started to cut. One long, one short, one long, one short. Okay, here we go. What's first? and then one short, okay. And then one long, and one short. Probably could have had you guys do this, it would have been a lot faster. One long, and one short, and then just one more, I think. What should it be? Should it be long or short? Long or short or long? You think it should have been short? Oh. Oh dear. Now it has to be short. You're absolutely right. Here, we'll do one more that's short. Okay. And then she was to take this, oh look, that's going to work just perfect. She was to take this thing that she had, it sort of looks like the grass that was growing in the woods, except of course it's black, which would mean it would be kind of dead and frozen grass, wouldn't it? But she was to put her arm through there, and then she was to put a handle on it, made of paper. And due to legal reasons, I'm not going to go over there and take one of the flames from there, but I do have a similar flame in my purse that I can light. So let's see if I take this flame and she put it in. And what had she made but a lantern? Can you see the paper lantern? Yeah. Yeah, it shines through. It's hard to see, but it's easier with black than white. I tried that last night. It's much easier in the dark, believe me. And actually, I'll just show you really quick. Nobody move. Even if she had wrapped the fire in the paper, it would not burn. Isn't that amazing?
Wait, what?
See, she wrapped it. Why did she wrap, how did she wrap fire in paper? She made a lantern. Yeah. And so, needless to say, the stonecutter's daughter and the king's daughter got to rule the kingdom together because she had learned how to harness the wind and how to wrap fire in paper. See it through the hole. You think the king was happy?
Probably not.
He was not. But he had made the announcement. He was always not happy, and he had made the announcement in public, so there was nothing he could do. Thank you.
We'll do our affirmation, and then we're going to sing this little light of mine as we head back, and we're going to talk about our inner wisdom today.
Oh boy.
So we are Unitarian Universalists.
People of open minds, loving hearts, and helping hands.
Let's sing one verse of this little light of mine as we head back.
This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. So, I have it on the wrong page. There we go. We're now going to have another hymn, and it's 298. And if you would like to stand, if you are able, we'll sing together. Feel the deep power of being in And now we have our reflection by Aunt Leanne.
This one's off, right? Great. I hate it when we get that wake up noise. Yeah. Surprise! It's me again. And I realized that I probably should have mentioned that I'm fairly short. I have gray and other colors in my hair and a blue and green dress on. Aunt Leanne, you are all such a wonderful group of people to tell stories to. I really enjoyed that Time for All Ages and seeing the different faces out there in the not so tiny people section as well. Today, this is my third time back here, and I'm feeling very much at home. And I think you already know, if you've seen me before, and as Stacy had mentioned, not only do I believe that all human beings are storytellers, but I believe that story is story, written all capital letters, story from around the world, stories and story. That is a treasure trove of wisdom and solace and reason that we don't often tap into enough, but it's there for all of us. It's universal. And I particularly liked Mary Oliver's words. Instructions for living are pay attention, be astonished, and tell about it. You need to go and tell about it. And it doesn't always mean that we just talk about the things that we've done, but sometimes it's to tell the story that holds what we've done in a different way. And I want to talk to you about going along with our theme for the month of the sacred art of paying attention, and about how story and stories can show us how to practice that sacred art, how to respond when things are seemingly impossible. It isn't about the frantic kind of paying attention that I know I did when I was studying for a test and cramming and trying to pay attention to everything and shove it into my brain. This is about the kind of paying attention with your heart. It's paying attention with your soul. It's the realization that the world may be constantly giving us the answers we're looking for, but sometimes we're too distracted to see them or to hear them. The story that I was telling there, the stonecutter's daughter, she stood in a court where the impossible tasks were being shouted out, and everyone was frantically trying to do those things. The king demanded that fire and wind be wrapped and controlled in paper. And the suitors, the men of status and probably ego, although I wasn't there, likely tried to force the elements, maybe burning their hands along with other things and chasing the breeze with boxes or bags only to open them and have nothing but stillness and air. They failed because they were trying to conquer the wind and the fire, but the stonecutter's daughter watched. And that was how she was able to conquer the wind. And then she went out into the woods, and she didn't just see the trees. She heard and saw the imp of the forest, who offered her a whisper of wisdom. In these kinds of stories, I always wonder about the suitors and the older brothers or the stepsister, the ones who don't listen, the ones who ignore the wise advice, the little old woman or the strange old man. I think maybe it's because they're trying to concentrate on that big problem. All of their focus is there, and they don't listen or look for the small things.
We're so busy sometimes trying to fix it with our strength and our ego, so busy with ourselves that we can't notice the insignificant voice or the small solution. Because the stonecutter's daughter listened, she saw that the materials at hand, or the paper, wasn't just a flat surface, but it had a potential form. She fidgeted that paper into a fan to harness the wind. She built a paper lantern to wrap the fire. She did the impossible because she paid attention to the nature of those materials and listened to the voices that others dismissed. And then we have Drew and Cheryl and Herc, the siblings on the road. They were almost sent to their deaths because they paid such acute attention. It looked like they must have stolen that camel. How else would they have known the camel was blind, missing a tooth, and lame? They even knew it carried honey and corn. Impossible. But they looked down. The sibling story shows us that our past and our history leaves tracks. If we look down, they saw that the grass was eaten on one side of the road, even though the other was lush. They saw the gap and the chewed clods. They saw the drag of a tired foot in the mud. The camel driver and the people that he had recruited were all in a panic, looking for the camel. But if they'd paid attention to the details, they could have read the map of the past. The sacred texts that were left in the traces. Everything that happens in our lives leaves a trail, and sometimes we need the humility to kneel and look down. What small, insignificant thing tells me what happened here? And in many, many other stories, like Beauty and the Beast, right? You all do know Beauty and the Beast. We often look at that as a story of a curse. But maybe it's really a story about the cost of missing the truth. When Beauty's father stole that rose, that flower, he was looking for his desire to please his daughter at home. He saw only that. But the beast saw a chance to reach out. Do you think the beast really wanted a life for that rose? What he really wanted was for someone to pay attention to the man beneath the fur. That impossible transformation didn't happen because of a magic wand. It happened because Beauty paid attention. She noticed the books that he loved and the loneliness in his eyes, how gentle and kind he was to her. She looked past that impossible mask until the truth had no choice but to show itself. To pay attention, to really pay attention, is often to see someone's true, authentic self, no matter how they present themselves. Even if they're covered in thorns or fur. Cinderella's impossible task, I don't know if you know this version, was to sort out lentils from peas, or sometimes from the ashes. And she didn't think she was capable of doing that. But she looked to nature, to her friends who were the birds, and they were able to sort it with no problem. She paid attention. There's another story I think you probably know of, the Princess and the Pea, right? Sometimes I get mad at that story, so I tell it differently now. But when you look at it, what it's telling us about being overly sensitive, right, is that that princess noticed something nobody else did. And the proof of her fitness to be a bride or to be a ruler or to be enough was in that thing that most people would have thought was a curse. It wasn't in who she had to vouch for her, because she had no one. It was in her ability to feel what was small and hidden. So what does that mean for us, here and now? Pretty sure we're not going to be tested in the way that stories tell us exactly. But if we look to what's underneath in these stories, we live in a world that profits from our distraction. Our attention is bought and sold and fragmented into 1,000 pieces. But if we look at story, if we look at these stories that have been handed down all over the world, it suggests that attention is the currency of the miraculous. When we pay attention, we stop being victims of our circumstances and can start being the co-creators of our lives. Like the stonecutter's daughter, we find that our limitations are actually tools. Like the siblings, we can find our answers in the tracks that are left behind. And like beauty, we can find the truth in the beast. Like Cinderella and that princess with the pea, we can realize that our sensitivity can be our strength. Now, I don't want you to take this as yet another thing to do. The Red Queen says that she can do 6 impossible things before breakfast, and that sounds like a terrible to-do list for me. But I do want us to take a closer look at what's around us. The next time that you face a mountain that won't move or a riddle that won't resolve, take a moment, quiet the noise, listen for that little imp's voice, watch for the tracks, feel and know what you're feeling, even if it's hidden. Perhaps the world is trying to tell us how to do the impossible. Are we paying attention? Thank you so much for listening.
Thank you so much. There's so much quotable stuff in that. I want to know all the quotes. Right now it's time for our offering, and we are a fellowship supported entirely by the voluntary generosity of our members and friends. We greatly appreciate our faithful pledgers who continue to keep up on their monthly contributions. It's easy to contribute to our virtual plate today. If you're on Zoom, the link can be found in the chat box, and it'll take you directly to the donation location. And we have this convenient little QR code that's in our order of service, and you could use that too. And now we will gratefully accept your generous donations during the musical interlude by the amazing Barbara Scheidecker.
So in the spirit of fairy tales, this is Beauty in the Rose Garden by wonderful American composer Edward MacDowell, who was born in 1860, and this is from a set called Forgotten Fairy Tales. And when I turn my page, this is when I think you hear the voice of the beast. And thanks, Aunt Leanne, for reminding us to pay attention.
And now we're going to sing hymn number 1051 in the teal hymnal. We are. If you want to stand, if you can, are willing and able, that would be great.
So you might want to look in the hymnal if you can find one. Give people a minute if they want to look for one. If you're looking through this, there's a repeat on the first page. We're going to do it. And then the second page, it turns, and there's another repeat. We're not going to do that one, just because it's complicated.
I'll try to.
It's a cool song.
Stories don't end.
But it has to be in.
But I have to go over here. They really don't end. The stories don't end when I stop using my voice. They travel from me to your heart and from your hearts out into the world. Please go, paying attention, looking for the little sparks that others have ignored, listening for the other voices that others don't hear, and ignite the fire wherever you go.
Comes a day when you're not looking, and there it is, the thing you were looking for. Only it isn't quite what you thought it would be. It's better, but you have to be looking to see it. We are now going to have our closing circle song, but we'll be able to talk for about 5 minutes, then we'll meet back together for our community gathering. Don't forget that we'll be in the salon and we'll be selling name tags, and you can pick up the ones you've ordered, and you can also sign up for your pledge.